The rain tapped against the office window. Marcus sat alone, watching the city blur through water streaks. Another late night, another favor for someone who would never return it. His phone buzzed. Sarah from accounting. Again. Marcus, could you finish the Peterson report? I promised it for tomorrow. He stared at the message, her Peterson report. The one she was supposed to complete 3 days ago? Of course, he typed back. The office was empty. Marcus opened the Peterson file. Sarah would present this tomorrow. Sarah would get the credit. He would sit in the back, invisible. He didn't know it yet, but this would be the last time. The numbers blurred. Not from tiredness, from something else. A quiet realization settling like dust in an abandoned room. How many reports had he written under someone else's name? How many late nights had he given away? At 2:47 a.m., Marcus sent the completed report. Sarah responded immediately. You're amazing. Thanks. 3 exclamation points. He counted them. Always 3, never 4, never 2. Always exactly 3, like she had calculated the precise amount of gratitude needed to keep him working. He closed his laptop and sat in the darkness. The elevator ride down felt longer than usual. 13 floors. 13 floors of people who knew his name only when they needed something. 13 floors of, Marcus, could you, and Marcus, would you mind, and Marcus is so helpful. Walking to his car, Marcus noticed something different. The world looked the same: wet streets, distant sirens, late-night convenience stores glowing yellow. But inside his chest, something had shifted, a small, cold space where warmth used to be. Then something changed. Tuesday morning arrived gray and ordinary. Marcus sat in the conference room watching Sarah present the Peterson report. Her report now, her words flowing smoothly over his research, his analysis, his sleepless night. Brilliant work, Sarah, said Mr. Harrison, the department head. This kind of thorough analysis is exactly what we need. Sarah beamed. Marcus sipped his coffee and said nothing. But this time he was watching, really watching. The way Sarah's eyes flickered toward him when Harrison praised the data methodology, the way she avoided looking at him directly, the slight tension in her shoulders, the forced brightness of her smile. She knew, and she didn't care. After the meeting, Marcus returned to his desk. His computer screen showed 17 new messages, all requests. All favors, all urgent. David from marketing. Quick question about the Johnson campaign metrics. Jennifer from HR. Could you help with the new employee orientation slides? Tom from sales. Need someone to review these client proposals. Marcus read each message carefully. Then he did something he had never done before. He waited. The messages sat unanswered for an hour, then 2 hours, then 3. David appeared at his desk around noon. Did you see my message this morning? Marcus looked up slowly. I saw it. When do you think you could? I'm not sure yet, Marcus said. His voice was calm, quiet, different. David's eyebrows rose. It's kind of urgent. Most things are. Marcus turned back to his screen. David stood confused. Marcus had never said no before. He didn't know it yet, but everything was about to change. That evening, Marcus sat in his apartment. The same apartment he'd lived in for 4 years. The same books on the shelves, the same furniture, the same view of the brick building next door. But the silence felt different, heavier, more intentional. His phone buzzed constantly. Sarah, David, Jennifer, Tom, others, all asking about their urgent requests. All wondering why the reliable Marcus hadn't responded. Marcus set his phone on silent and opened a book. The next few days passed like scenes from a movie he was watching instead of living. Colleagues approached his desk with increasingly desperate expressions. The helpful Marcus they knew seemed to have disappeared, replaced by someone who listened carefully, spoke little, and made no promises. Are you okay? Sarah asked Friday afternoon. You seem different. Marcus looked at her for a long moment, really looked. Her designer handbag cost more than his monthly groceries. Her nails were perfect fresh from a salon she could afford because she didn't stay up until 3 a.m. doing other people's work. I'm fine, he said. But he wasn't fine. He was something else. Something new. That weekend, Marcus did something he hadn't done in years. Nothing, no favors, no extra work. He sat by his window, watched the city, and thought. Monday arrived like a test. Sarah appeared at his desk before 9 a.m. Marcus, there's this client presentation for Wednesday. Marcus let her finish. Let her explain how urgent it was. Then he said, no, one word, quiet, final. Sarah blinked. What? No, I won't be doing your presentation, but you always help. I did. I don't anymore. Sarah's face went through several expressions: confusion, surprise, anger, panic. You promised. Not me. The conversation lasted 15 more minutes. Sarah tried reasoning, pleading, guilt-tripping. Marcus listened to all of it with the same calm expression. When she finally left, he noticed something interesting. He felt powerful. The news spread quickly through the office. Marcus, helpful, reliable Marcus, was saying no. Not just to Sarah, to everyone. David's marketing metrics request? No. Jennifer's orientation slides? No. Tom's client proposals? No. By Wednesday, the office felt different. People looked at Marcus differently. Not with the casual expectation they used to have, but with something else: uncertainty, respect now. Sarah's client presentation went badly. She had to admit she wasn't prepared. Harrison was not pleased. That afternoon, Marcus received an email from Harrison himself. Marcus, I'm realizing how much you've been contributing behind the scenes. Let's discuss your role in the company. My office, Thursday 2 p.m. Thursday at 2 p.m., Marcus sat across from Harrison for the first time in 2 years. I've been reviewing productivity reports, Harrison said. It's interesting. The quality of work from several departments has dropped significantly this week. Marcus said nothing. Sarah mentioned you've been unavailable for collaboration. I've been focusing on my own responsibilities. Harrison nodded slowly. Your own responsibilities, which are? Marcus pulled out a folder. Inside were job descriptions, project records, and time logs. Documentation of everything he'd been doing versus what he was actually hired to do. According to my contract, I'm a financial analyst. But for the past 3 years, I've been writing marketing reports, designing HR presentations, reviewing sales proposals, and covering for colleagues who apparently can't manage their own workload. Harrison studied the documents. His expression grew more serious with each page. I see. He set the papers down. What do you want, Marcus? That was the moment Marcus realized something important. All those years of being helpful, being used, being invisible, they had taught him exactly what everyone else needed. Their weaknesses, their dependencies, their fears. I want my job to match my pay grade and my contributions to be acknowledged, such as? Marcus pulled out another folder. Detailed records of every report he'd written, every problem he'd solved, every crisis he'd prevented while someone else took credit. Harrison was quiet for a long time. What would you say to a promotion? Senior financial analyst, your own team. 20% raise. Marcus had dreamed of this moment for years. But now that it was here, he felt nothing. No excitement, no gratitude. Just cold calculation, 30%. And I choose my team members. Harrison's eyebrows rose. This wasn't the Marcus he thought he knew. 25. 30. And I report directly to you, not through department heads who take credit for my work. Another long silence. Done. Walking back to his desk, Marcus noticed the office felt different again. People watched him pass. Not with pity or casual dismissal, but with something he'd never seen before in their eyes: wariness. Sarah was at his desk when he arrived, holding a stack of papers. Marcus, I know things have been weird between us, but I really need help with. Sarah. She stopped mid-sentence. Clean out your desk. You're being transferred to the Portland office. What? You can't? You don't have the authority to... Marcus opened his laptop and showed her the screen. An email from Harrison sent 10 minutes ago announcing organizational changes. Sarah's transfer, Marcus's promotion. The new reporting structure. Sarah's face went pale. You did this. I did nothing. I simply stopped doing your work for you. She stared at him for a long moment. Then something in her expression shifted. For the first time in 3 years, Sarah looked at Marcus and saw someone she couldn't use. You've changed? She said. No, Marcus replied, his voice quiet but steady. I just stopped pretending to be weak. That evening, Marcus sat in his apartment again. Same books, same furniture, same view, but everything was different. His phone buzzed. David from marketing. Hey Marcus, congratulations on the promotion. I was wondering if you might have time to discuss a collaboration between our departments. Marcus read the message and smiled. The first genuine smile he'd felt in months. He typed back, schedule a meeting through my assistant. Bring a detailed proposal and budget projections. For the first time in years, people needed him. But now they would pay for the privilege. 3 months later, Marcus stood in his new corner office, looking down at the city through floor-to-ceiling windows. His team was efficient, disciplined, and very, very loyal. They had learned from watching him that strength didn't come from being loud or aggressive. It came from being indispensable by choice, not by weakness. Sarah had lasted 6 weeks in Portland before quitting. David's department now submitted all requests in writing with proper timelines and budgets. Jennifer from HR had learned to do her own presentations, and Marcus had learned the most valuable lesson of all. Kindness without boundaries wasn't kindness. It was just another form of slavery. The rain still tapped against windows. The city still blurred through water streaks. But now Marcus watched from above, and he decided who deserved his help. That was the moment he realized the truth. They hadn't used his kindness. They had used his fear. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Mr. Marcus, this is Rachel from the Denver office. I heard you're the one who actually wrote the Peterson analysis. I have a proposition. Marcus set his phone down and walked to his window. The city sprawled below him like a chessboard. He had spent years being a pawn, moving where others directed, sacrificing himself for their advancement. But kindness without power was just weakness wearing a mask. Word traveled fast in their industry. Marcus was suddenly visible, suddenly valuable. The next morning brought an unexpected visitor. Regional Director Catherine Wells. She rarely came down from the executive floor. Marcus, she said, settling into his chair. I've been hearing interesting things about you, such as that you've been behind some of our most successful initiatives. The Morrison merger analysis. The Tokyo expansion report. Marcus said nothing. Let her talk. I also hear that you're no longer as collaborative as you once were. I'm more selective about my collaborations. Catherine smiled. I like that. It shows wisdom. She placed a folder on his desk. Regional analyst position. 90,000 base salary. Performance bonuses that could double that. What's the catch? No catch. I need someone I can trust to deliver results. I'll need a team of 5. My choice, final approval on all assignments. Done. After Catherine left, Marcus sat alone in his office. The transformation was complete. The timid man who used to work late writing other people's reports had disappeared completely. In his place sat someone who understood that power wasn't taken, it was recognized and claimed by those bold enough to stop giving it away. His assistant knocked softly. Mr. Marcus? Your 3 p.m. appointment is here. David from marketing entered with a prepared presentation. The same David who used to drop urgent requests with casual dismissal. Now he sat nervously, professionally presenting his proposal. I appreciate you taking the time to meet with me, David began. The conversation lasted 45 minutes. When it ended, Marcus made notes. I'll review your proposal and get back to you by Friday. Thank you for considering it. After David left, Marcus walked to his window. Somewhere in the city, other invisible people were working late, writing reports that others would present. Some would continue being invisible forever. Others might learn what Marcus had learned. His phone rang. Sarah. Marcus? Her voice was tired. I wanted to apologize for everything. I took advantage of your kindness. I appreciate that. I heard about your promotion. Congratulations. How did you know to stop helping everyone? Sarah asked. Marcus considered the question carefully. I realized that being needed and being respected were 2 very different things. At 6 p.m., he closed his laptop and prepared to leave. Not because he had nothing else to do, but because he chose to leave. Walking through the office, Marcus noticed how differently people looked at him now. The casual dismissal had become respectful nods. The desperate requests had become professional meetings. The assumption that he would always say yes had become careful consideration of whether he might say no. Outside, the city hummed with its usual energy. But Marcus moved through it all so differently. not as someone trying to prove his own worth, but as someone who knew it. 6 months ago, Marcus would have called this transformation becoming colder, harder, less kind. Now he understood it differently. He had learned the difference between kindness and weakness, between helping others and sacrificing himself, between being useful and being used. The city gleamed with reflected light from above. Marcus walked to his car and drove home through streets that looked the same but felt completely different, because everything had changed. Not the world around him, and the world had simply responded to him accordingly. Fear, once acknowledged, had become something far more powerful than before: respect.